and welcome to the Art of Decluttering podcast. I'm your host, Amy Revell. Today is a really important episode to follow on from our 101 series, because I would imagine that many of you have listened to the full 101 series or dipped in and out of the episodes that you feel like were most appropriate and applicable for your home. But maybe you haven't actually set aside the time yet to do the action. So what I want to do is give you a cheat sheet or a tip that will help you to kind of hack your way through the hard bits in case that's what's getting you stuck. And also, it's going to be a pretty short episode today because my asthma is terrible at the moment. And if I speak for too long, I'm absolutely going to end up coughing and wheezing in your ear. The reason it's bad is I have been plastering and insulating. We're putting a little pod in our yard for my husband's office. And I love being handy. I love getting in there and doing all the things. I just kind of forgot that my asthma doesn't love it when I was wearing a mask, but I still was inhaling like plaster dust. So that's the why of my voice and why it's a bit of a shorter episode. But I didn't want to miss the opportunity to speak to you at the end of the 101 series to really give you kind of the, hey, if you're a bit stuck, see if this will help. Now, the title of the episode is Time Will Tell. And the concept is I want you to find a box that you can put things in that you're not quite sure if you should declutter or not. I don't want it to be a clear box. I want it to be a cardboard box or an opaque box, a box that you can't see easily what's inside. And when you're going through and you're decluttering, you come across things that you're like, oh, maybe I am going to need 3 cake servers. Maybe what you can do, and you're just too anxious to get rid of them, then you can put them in the Time Will Tell box. The concept is you put things in the Time Will Tell box, you write a date on the lid of the Time Will Tell box, and then you check back in after 3 or 6 months. Now, if you leave it much longer than that, you're probably going to feel like, oh, it's so exciting, I'm rediscovering all these items. The concept is that you leave it a short enough period of time that you can be honest with yourself and go, I actually didn't need those things, so that you can see them and go, yeah, they are actually unnecessary because I have not needed them at all in the period that I've had them away for. So the idea is to put things in there, put the box out of sight and make it difficult for yourself to access. So it might be under the house, it might be under a bed, somewhere where you're not going to be so tempted to, it's like in the kitchen where you can just kind of open it up and snatch something out just because in the moment you change your mind. And then if you do need to get something out of the box, you want to really consider first, is there something else I could use in replace of what I want to grab out? You might find that there's actually a really great workaround or a great substitute, or maybe you do actually have what you need in amongst the things that aren't in your Time Will Tell box, just in your home. And so you want to make it difficult and challenging to go to the box, because the idea is that over the period of time, you don't go to the box at all. You come back at the end, you go, oh my gosh, I didn't need any of this stuff, and the whole box can go to donation. And it is a really good way for kind of the in-betweeny things. Now, I don't want you to put everything in a Time Will Tell box. I want you to be really, really particular and selective with what you put in this box so that you're still getting things out of the house. And this is just like that final check for the really difficult things. So it isn't a box that you want to create a habit of putting everything there and 3 months later you get it out, because you're just adding an extra step, an unnecessary step into your decluttering. You want to remind yourself and give yourself confidence in your ability to declutter things when you think you won't need them. So you don't need the Time Will Tell box. I don't have a Time Will Tell box, but there's been plenty of clients who have found it to be really, really helpful on items that they're stuck on. So rather than spending, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes really trying to nut out one particular item or a category of items, save the time, put it in the Time Will Tell box, and then come back to it later. And the fact that you've put it in that box with a date on it allows you to see, oh, wow, it has been 6 months and I forgot what I even put in there. One of the things that I really love with a Time Will Tell box is when it comes time to open it up, before you open it up, get a pen and paper and see if you can label or name any single item that is in there. Because you may find that you really surprise yourself that you put things in there you weren't sure you could live without, but then when you've lived without them for 3 to 6 months, you've forgotten they even exist. And so if you're really brave, you might even write on there, if I can't remember what's in here, just take this to the charity shop, take this to the op shop, get rid of it without going back through it, right? So you don't want to go back through it and be, oh my gosh, I forgot I had this and this is amazing, because you put it in that box for a reason. So don't think of it as things that you're like wanting to keep but just testing out. Think of it as like, I've basically donated these and got rid of them, but I'm just doing like one final check. So I think that if you can kind of create this time will tell box, it can be a small box, it can be a bigger box. Don't do more than one at a time. As I said, you don't want to create a habit out of giving your donated items an in-between place to live. But as you've been going through the 101 series, if you have been stuck and you have come across things that are really challenging, this might be a little way that you can kind of click, oh, there's a solution that I can try, I can do a practice, I can experiment, will this work? And then you can keep decluttering and go through the easier things. So a short episode today, but what I want to also do is encourage you, if you've missed any of the last 10 episodes, go back and have a listen. Or if there's an area that you listened to the episode and you went, that's awesome, and you haven't made time for it, I want to encourage you today, make time, go back, go through that episode, go through that space in your room, download the things from the course. There'll be a link in the show notes if you haven't already downloaded the course material, where there's decluttering checklists and organizing cheat sheets and videos and podcasts and lots of different resources. But this is what it is today. Here's a little tool, your time will tell box. And I want to give you space to go and declutter and actually do the work that perhaps has eluded you for whatever reason. It's school holidays in Australia, so maybe it's a perfect time to tackle an area. You know, send the kids outside, pop a movie on, get them to help, get them engaged in the process, whatever works for you. But I hope that this little time will tell tip of having that box will give you a solution for some of the really tricky items. And for all the rest, my friends, just take it to the op shop. It doesn't matter if you do 3 trips to the op shop in a week. It's better to get those things out as you make decisions, and then you don't have to deal with them again. I'm looking forward to being back with you next week when my voice is stronger and I'm able to speak for longer. But I know that if you can put into practice the things over the last 10 weeks and today, you're going to have an amazing transformation in your home and you're going to enjoy the freedom. See ya. I would like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people, who are the traditional custodians of the land this podcast is recorded on. I would also like to pay respects to their elders, both past and present, of the Kulin Nation, and extend that respect to other Indigenous Australians. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would love you to rate and review the show on your podcast app. That will help others to find the Art of Decluttering podcast as well. If you'd like any more information, you can visit theartofdecluttering.com.au, and I would love to see you in my Facebook group. Just search the Art of Decluttering community on Facebook and join today. I hope that you have an incredible rest of your day and enjoy the freedom.